This is the jams right here, right? I got this small kind jams, small kind free licensed music. I'm thinking, okay, so this is my 1 year. Well, I'm just made over a year of live streaming, but in the coming year, I got to start maybe producing my own music. So I already bust out the ukulele one time. Shall I do it again? I think so. I think that might be what I need to do. Maybe have a theme song even. I don't know. That might be crazy, but it's been an amazing year of live streaming, of coming into your workrooms, into your living rooms, into your cars, into wherever you're streaming around the entire world, because this is what we are, the Wayne Coito Show. Mr. Worldwide was my nickname for like one day, I think. So I don't know. I could be like really popular in some really remote corner of the world where they only get Hawaii sports fans, like their keyboard is stuck or something. But with that being said, it's been a magical year, and we're going to talk a little bit about what has transpired this past year. Obviously, COVID has been the dominant news and story, and sports story as well, because COVID has left its mark on every sports league, on every sports fan. And now finally in 2021, over a year after we've kind of been locked down, we're starting to see the light. But we're going to talk about today why being vaccinated is going to be the first step to being back in the stands. But it's been quite the year. I do want to point out as well, of course, my LAFC plug, because LAFC plays its first game of the MLS season. The MLS gets started this weekend, and fans are going to be limited as well, so 1/4 of the stadium. So they're going to go by priority, and we're all wondering, priority of who got their season tickets. And I was amongst the originals in 2016, so I expect to be in the stadium. And it's just me, so I should be able to get in. I mean, I may or may not be, savagely angry you know what? I'm going to get in the game on Saturday. So that's what I'm planning on. But this is what COVID has done to us. It's made us think, like, are we even going to be able to get into the game? And that can happen even if you have season tickets. For LAFC, they've already said that only season ticket holders will have access, which is great because I'm a season ticket holder. And for anyone else who has, put down that deposit, it was a $50 deposit in 2016. And I wasn't even a soccer fan. And this is why, so LAFC is my example of why being directly marketed toward, i.e. having the algorithms spit at you all of these things that they pretty sure you're going to want. Why sometimes, I'm okay with that. It could be exploitative, obviously, all this information that the internet has gathered on us. And it has, gotten to know our likes and our dislikes, and it'll send us ads that, they might think we might be interested in. One of the first Facebook ads that was apparently directly marketed to me was a site for nerds or dorks or whatever for a dating service. So not really sure how they came up with that. Maybe it was because I have no idea what they took off my page, but I mean, they were deadly accurate. And also accurate was LAFC when they targeted me with this ad to put down $50 in 2016 to become a LAFC original and a founding member of the club. And who would have thought 5 years later, almost 5 years later, 5 years later already, that luckily I'd put that money down because I think it might be the reason that I get into the stadium. And this is what some teams are having to do. They're going to have to figure out how they can pare down, first of all, they have a lot of season ticket holders like LAFC does. You can't even fit everybody into 1/4 of the stadium. So that is already a problem. And I think, this is why we're talking about why being vaccinated is going to be the thing that ultimately gets everybody in the stadium. Because as long as we are only testing, or we are basically not even testing. Not even. I mean, we're not even testing, right? We've been going to games, and I've been going to games. I've been going to COVID games. I went to a COVID Super Bowl. I went to 2 COVID NFL playoff games, or 3, counting the Super Bowl, but 2 more in Kansas City. I went to a COVID MLS game. I went to a COVID NBA game in Orlando. So, and I've been to 3 COVID Major League Baseball games, and none of those will test us, right? None of those games really tested it. Even in the Orlando game was funny because they made us sign like a waiver to get in, saying that we were. I mean, they didn't even like take our temperature, but I mean, look, we're rolling the dice, and we knew that when we're going to a game. But in the one thing about that was that teams were not able to, pack up their arenas. So without the testing, and without knowing whether people have COVID or not, I mean, their best bet was just spreading people out. Even in Orlando, which is shocking because when you went out the door of that arena, there are people piling up in the streets and going to clubs and thinking there was no pandemic, but such is Florida. And but what we can see from that instance is that, even in that giant arena where they were spreading out, I mean, I have no idea what kind of, there was still sound being generated by the fans, and I think the players still appreciated having fans there. But at least for the NBA, it was just so, that same fan experience definitely wasn't there from before, because they tried to move people away from the court, which is smart. You don't want to have too many people super close to the court. But the Major League Baseball game, that was pretty good. I think being outdoors obviously is different, right? So being outdoors, it's a lot more safer, a lot less worry about air particles or, COVID particles being stagnant in the air around you when you're outdoors, right? So being outdoors is something that is actually beneficial when we're talking about sports, because that'll help, for stadiums to be able to run at a full capacity, because running at a full capacity means there is no 6-foot spacing, right? I mean, I talk about like Jerry's house, Jerry's World, going to Dallas and going to Cowboy Stadium and being in their stadium and just being totally, first of all, I love that stadium. It's fun. But Jerry Jones will stuff, hundreds of thousands of people into that stadium, into an enclosed arena. It's pretty amazing. But there's barely 6 inches of space between you sometimes, let alone 6 feet. So teams, the only way that these teams can be positive and be sure that they'll be able to sell out or have full capacity is for everyone to show proof of vaccination. And that's going to be, obviously, some people are not very happy about that, because some people have decided already that they're not going to be vaccinated. I have been vaccinated, fully vaccinated. I got both of my Pfizer shots already. I feel fine. In fact, I feel, a lot more confident, if anything, of being able to go out, being able to do the things that I've wanted to do. Well, I've been doing a lot of those things still. I've been lucky, right? I've been lucky. One of the few people I've been able to travel during COVID. I never got sick either. And I know a lot of people that got sick. I know someone that died. I know many people that, I know a few people that died. And obviously having my friend Mauricio pass, that has been even more of a reason for me to be passionate about people being vaccinated and people being as safe as possible. But ultimately, if you want to be back in the stadium, the trend is there. You'll be required to be vaccinated. And we've already seen it with the Buffalo Bills, the first NFL team to require a vaccine passport. And that's going to be to allow for full capacity at a stadium. And it was something that the owner of the Bills said as well. I believe it was the owner, one of the executives, said that he believes it's your choice if you want to be vaccinated. But he also believes that you don't get the privilege of being able to go into NFL stadium without doing what is required of the teams. And if they're required to be vaccinated, that's what's going to be what you should do. Robert says, I don't think you should be allowed if not vaccinated, just one fan's opinion. And a lot of stadiums, and that's why now as the vaccine is becoming more available to everyone, right now we're not just in tiers of people who, healthcare workers, or if, you know, um, whatever, teachers, first line workers. I don't want to say whatever, but I mean people that are 75 plus. Now that we have eliminated barriers, and in California, I've talked about this even from last week's show, there are already places in Los Angeles, whatever age you are, 16 and above, I guess is what the vaccines are, have been, that the FDA has approved them for, right? 16 years older and above. And you can already get them, basically. You can find a place right now in California today. And in Hawaii, I believe that's about, we're getting there as well. And, so, yeah, Robert, I think pretty soon they'll be able to require. And I think that's just going to be the pattern. What the bills are doing is going to be the trend for the years to come. So if you, are really interested in going to a game in the fall, you should really think about being vaccinated. So I'm doing something right now on Facebook. You can create a poll. So I'm just gonna say, are you vaccinated? Yes or no. That's the two options. Just want to see how many people so far are vaccinated. I've been creating these little polls, so trying to add a little bit more here and there. But let's continue. Scalpers will be slanging vax cards at the gates for sure, Justin says. And that's the thing, right? So the vaccine cards probably are not going to be the way to be verified, right? Because those white cards, as cool as they are to have one, and I like having mine, and I used it already to get a free Krispy Kreme donut. You can get a free Krispy Kreme. We're going to make a quick, tangent to sugar and donuts because everyone loves that. And Krispy Kreme, you can get one free Krispy Kreme a day for the rest of 2021 just by showing your vaccine card. So anybody slanging vax cards, Justin, is probably in front of Krispy Kreme. But anyways, now I kind of really want to go back to Krispy Kreme, but you kind of pay for it as well. But Justin also brings up another question. Will UH raise prices of home football tickets? And, that's first of all, with that, I'll answer that question right now. With the current situation, and if even if UH has full capacity, which that is another question, whether by the fall in Hawaii we'll have full capacity. And the only way I'd see that happening is to show vaccine cards. Because look, the pandemic is we're going to still have cases, right, through the rest of 2021, probably going into 2022, unless people get vaccinated. That's the only way, but we need more people to be vaccinated. I just posted up there, the Yankees are vaccinated. Every Yankee, and most of the Yankees, I believe, got vaccinated. And that's great because there's been a lot of hesitancy amongst baseball players to not get vaccinated. But Aaron Boone, who's the manager, he said it's been an exciting day because about a week ago, they basically they reached their 85%. So that was the threshold that Major League Baseball wanted for teams to have their tier 1 employees, like the players, the coaches, and the high-level staff, to have 85%. And that's, a good cushion when these people are in close proximity with each other to have that 85% immunity, quote unquote. But without that, you can't sell 100%. And even at 100%, Justin, I think UH tickets will go up just because at 100% of the new stadium, which I believe they're talking 10,000, maybe 15,000, I think the prices will go up a little bit just to also make up for, the lost revenue from, or the revenue from, or to make up for the costs of construction as well. So I should use my LAFC coolie thing. What are those things called? That you keep things cool. But we have seen that already. People are kind of complaining in California and, around the country where if you can't get in all the fans, the prices have been going up as well. Like tickets have been going up for Like Dodgers tickets are Dodgers tickets are pretty expensive usually, but they've gotten even more expensive. Even Angels tickets have gotten more expensive. Usually in baseball games, baseball is usually one of the sports too that are the more like affordable sports. NFL is definitely one of the least affordable sports. Yeah, koozie. Thank you, Robert, who uses one often and actually gifted me a Rams koozie after a game once, which I still have. Um, but yeah, you're seeing tickets even in the nosebleeds. You know, where there used to be like $15 tickets at Angels games, $10 tickets even sometimes. Those are all like at least 30, 40. And tomorrow or this Friday is Otani bobblehead. So, I'm going to be there for my Otani bobblehead because I rarely miss a bobblehead game. That's why I have my Trout bobblehead. You see me picking off the floor. Sorry, Trout bobblehead. It fell on the floor. But the tickets have gone up a little bit. And I think that is something that is unfortunate because some sports are already kind of pricey already, so I can see that. Unfortunately, Justin, for UH even as well, but UH needs to be able to get people into their stadiums and be able to get people to, continue. I know they're trying to campaign right now to raise money for the new stadium, but it's hard. It's hard to just ask people for money, especially when you've been doing it for so long and you haven't really been getting much in return. It's like not having any fans at all for any sports. That's rough. And some schools, now that other schools are starting to open the doors, and a lot of people are saying, or I just saw something interview where Dave Matlin talked about the Department of Health, and if that's true, if it's like local bureaucrats maybe that are stopping it, then perhaps Mayor Blangiardi or Governor Ige needs to step in for really just we've heard this a lot already. The more that people are out of the stands, the more likely they won't come back, right? It's especially an older, aging fan base. So maybe prices of games won't be higher, Justin, because a lot of those people aren't going to be going back, and the demand might drop, and that would be sad if that happens. But I could see that. I could see a lot of people saying, well, I was thinking about stopping, one of these days. I know my grandfather and, they stopped way too early going to games. They had many years left in them. And my grandpa could still come to games now, and he's a lot older. But, there's a time when they call it quits, a lot of those kupuna and those ones who've been around the program for decades. And during this pandemic year, I'm sure a lot of them just stayed home and are probably not going to come back. So we might have to build a whole bunch of new fans. But the other thing about the on-campus stadium is the fact that the students will be there. I think the students will finally be there because they'll probably get, wasted. Let's be honest, they're in college and UH students. And they'll probably be in their dorms and they'll walk down, which is a cool college tradition, which is what college kids do across the country. Maybe not at BYU. But it is a part of college football that it'll be kind of a neat tradition to have students there, and I expect way more students to be on campus stadium. With that being said, that's going to take away even more students. So I think that is going to be something that could also make the tickets go up. So yeah, Justin. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great chance. I think that the students will be there. I think there won't be as much of an excuse, and I think it'll be fun for them to be there. They'll want to be there because they'll be able to just walk back to their campus, right? If they or their dorm, if they don't want to be there, they'll go back to their dorm room or whatever. And it's just way different. You can pregame in your room. You can pregame with your friends. You can be flimsy about whether you want to commit to go. It's not like you have to jump on a bus and go to Halava and take the bus back. So, I think a lot of students will go. But that'll also take away from the seats. So, one thing about that is because the students are already paying, the students are going to go free. I mean, they already pay a student activity fee, so their money is already paid up front, actually. but I think you're going to see students use up all of their tickets, their free tickets, because it'll be cool. It'll be cool to be on campus for the kids, and I'm excited for the students as well. I'm excited for them to maybe start new traditions, maybe become more supportive of their team, and it'll definitely help with drumming up student spirit on campus, having the games there. I think, no doubt, just by that circumstance alone. Nonetheless, Hawaii has always been a commuter school, and it always been a school that has relied on, at least for its fans, people like me, people like my grandparents, people like you, people like your parents and your grandparents that might not be alums, that might not even have really had any connection to UH other than the fact that they live in Hawaii. And that is a rare thing as well. So we have to be very, I think, at the school, very still, vigilant of how many people drop off of season ticket holders, how many people are, stop sending in those checks to the school, and I think you're going to see a drop off. So that's the thing that kind of frightens me about the on campus, but I'm excited for it. I mean, and I was one of the few people that said before too that it would be on campus. And people are saying Maui, something I've said from the very beginning. I've said from the moment that Aloha Stadium closed was that they would be on campus. I knew that from the beginning because it makes the most sense. And even with whatever money they have to put up front to grow the facility, whatever, it'll be recouped. But they'll have to raise ticket prices. So I think ultimately yes, Justin. But that means they're going to take more of our money too. Justin said maybe instead of throwing balls into a Chad Owens cutout, giant beer pong. Yeah, so there's at Aloha Stadium, we had some really stale, fourth quarter, third quarter games, or, the marketing. And that's been something across the year of doing this show, whether I've had Mayor Blangiardi on the show, who used to play for the team, who used to be a coach for UH football, who's now the mayor of Honolulu, whether I've had Ian Schuring from Hawaii News Now, whether I've had anybody, former AD, everybody that we've brought on the show, and we talk about UH football, we talk about the atmosphere and how that is not up to par, how being entertained at the game is not where it should be, that level of entertainment. And that is going to be the biggest issue for the team. And I don't want to say issue, a matter that the team needs to focus on, especially now that I have its own on-campus stadium. I mean, obviously the school already hosts baseball and already hosts, events at Stan Sheriff, but I think those could also step up as well. And football is a different story. Football is your main everything, your main course, right? Football is everything. It's like, and for me, it's the most important for me as a fan too, because I see it. I know how important it is to the other sports, right? Because I'm a guy, when I played sports in college, I played all the other sports too. I didn't even play football in high school. I only played like one season in Pop Warner. So yeah, I know, right? Crazy, but it is what it is, and when it comes to the amount of money that people are willing to spend to go to football games, that's literally where, the department is paying for its coaching, paying for the other sports, paying for its facilities, is football. And that's why football is so important, for people to support the football team. And I'm so happy about the success of the men's volleyball team, for a volleyball player myself. And it's exciting and nice to see the boys doing so well and everybody in Hawaii being so supportive of them. And also hearing that I believe they are self-sustaining. They're able, by their own success and what the revenue, or not this year, right? They're not getting that same gate revenue. But those sports usually are being supported by the football team, and especially men's volleyball. We always know that's always could be on the chopping block, because Stanford cut men's volleyball. So Stanford is willing to cut men's volleyball, and they didn't need to. Let's be honest. They have a humongous trust, educational trust that they sit on, and it is what it is. They still offer a lot of NCAA sports, but men's volleyball is usually one of those fringe sports that gets cut off if they're not making money. But we're lucky at UH that we've been able to keep that around and keep not only football, but or not only men's volleyball, but sailing and some of these other smaller sports. So the success of the football team, or the success and the sustainability of the non-football sports, is predicated on the success and the money-making ability of the football team. So that's why the football team is so important. Justin says, congrats, bruv, on the milestone. Mahalo. Great local sport content. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everybody that's been supporting. Jenny, mahalo as well. I know she watches a lot. She says, love volleyball. I know Jenny, she got to catch, and some of you might have seen my my little piece that I got to do. I was there in Northridge at the Matadome to see the #1 team in the country, UH men's volleyball. And they played Cal State Northridge and secured their first regular season conference championship in 4 decades, since 1980. So that was cool. But what was really strange was being one of the few people there. And I'll tell you right now that was strange. Like, I was there, as media. I wasn't there as a fan because there were no fans. I mean, 0 fans. And that was crazy because even when I went to football, like when I went to Fresno and I was covering that game, the UH against Fresno game as media, there were still like some Fresno fans. There were still people they let in. But at the Matadome, it was so quiet. And especially when the visiting team is like kind of whipping you, it's even quieter. But it was really strange at times to be in that building. It felt like a scrimmage, watching 2 teams play each other, 2 really great teams. I mean, even Northridge is a great team. They are not on the same caliber as UH men's volleyball, but I think this is, a very high year for UH men's volleyball, and I think this is the year that they can win it finally and win the national championship. I was there in 2002. I was there at Penn State the last time UH won a national championship, but that was erased from the record books because of NCAA said that UH player Kostas Theokarides, because of his involvement in a pro league. I don't even believe he was paid. I don't even think he was paid at all. But they stripped UH of that championship. But I was there, and that was a cool feeling to be there in 2002. And Jenny says, I was there too. Yes, Jenny. And I was there in 2019 as well, and that was not a good feeling, obviously, losing to Long Beach State. But I think this can be the 10th. I really think this is the year, and I think the stars kind of finally aligned for coach and for the players, and there's really no weaknesses on this UH team. I mean, the team is so good that the coach can tinker with the lineup and change the 6th guy around, like he was putting in Akana, the transfer, and taking out the other outside, and he can show off his depth a little bit. So that's kind of cool, and I think that's why this team is different. Jenny also says, if they make it to the championship, I wish I could go, but probably no fans allowed. Hope you can go. So thank you, Jenny. I hope I can go too. I hope I can go as a fan though, because I don't know. I'm holding out hope that there will be fans for the men's volleyball championship, and the only reason is, first of all, I think countrywide we're starting to see more fans go to games. I think Ohio is one of the states that too would be open to having fans, and I'm sure already has fans, probably for some indoor events. And the NCAA just held its basketball championships in Indiana, the neighboring state to Ohio, and fans were allowed into the games NCAA tournament. So that is the reason why I could see. But that's the only reason. So Jenny, keep watching. I don't know. Hopefully, me and you will be there together. Because I think there could be a chance. I keep looking at the website, and the NCAA website, and there's nothing updated. But we should check, because I'm pretty sure Ohio State is already having fans at their games, and if that is already happening there on that campus, it'll probably already they might be able to have it happen. But the NCAA is also going to be running the event, so it'll be up to them ultimately. But that's why I said, because of the men's basketball tournament having fans, I feel like they would also, as an equity thing, try and have fans. But we'll see. a lot can change though, right? So that NCAA championships are going to be May 6th through the 8th. You remember last year, UH volleyball, the season cut off in March. Right after UH and BYU went through a really tough game and what looked like it could be a preview of the national championship. So I don't know. We'll see whether that'll happen again this year. But I know BYU also lost. So UH is, I believe, the only, I think, Demon College or Damon, however you say it, which is, believe me, having played in the EIVA on the East Coast, there are some schools that I guarantee that most of you have never heard of. Because definitely in Hawaii, you would never have heard of some of these schools. But that's one of them, Demon, or I don't even know how to say it, Damon College. But they are also they're a Division II team, and they have a men's volleyball team that is ranked because the poll is Division I, II. When I played, it was D1, 2, 3. There wasn't even a D3, so even the D3 had to play in the open division, which was really fun. But that's kind of the state of men's volleyball, like I talked about before, right? It's always been one of those fringe sports. It's always been one of those sports where if your football team ain't so hot, or if your football team can't pull in the money, your men's volleyball team might be one of the first to take the hit for it. And that's why, we find ourselves with so few teams. But there are more teams. In the NAIA, there are a lot of men's volleyball teams. Obviously, we've had a lot come from Hawaii who have been successful in the NAIA as well. And a lot of those teams are going D2. We had some, as some of you know, I also do media for the Pac West Conference Division II, which is the conference that HPU and Chaminade and UH Hilo is in. And, I've been with them for now 14 years and supposed to be going to do our tennis tournament next week. So finally, I guess I'll get to jump back into that world as well, which has been kind of shut down because of COVID. But I think what we're seeing is, a whole shift into how we can get back to full capacity. How can we start making the move? And I know that for colleges and universities, I think a lot of them are just saying, let's just get through this year. And UH has already said that as well, too, right? They're like, whatever, we're just going to get through this year. Sorry, no fans. And we just want to end this year, which I think is, kind of sucky, too, because, California is going to have some fans. We already know Long Beach State, is going to be allowing some fans there as well. So some Big West schools are going to have fans, but a lot of them are just kind of gearing up for the fall. So ultimately, it's going to be probably down again to being vaccinated and being able to show proof of that. I know Clear. We have all these like third-party kind of secure information websites. California is using one called like Healthvana, I believe, to hold all of our vaccine records. So, yeah, if your whole life depended on that flimsy vaccine card, then that probably wouldn't be good. But there are electronic backups apparently going on, in the background, and at least I know where I got mine in California, there is one. So that'll be probably what is used to do some kind of online verification. But that's kind of where everything is headed. And I'm hoping that people, in Hawaii will also, take being vaccinated seriously as well, because I think that'll help in Hawaii for more people to go back. I'm disappointed that the numbers haven't gone down as much in terms of COVID cases, because I think that there would have been a chance to have fans in the stands for the Big West tournament. And that's the thing too. It's like such hard luck because these boys, they don't get in. I'm sure some of you remember, when was it, back in 2000 maybe, when we hosted, the last time UH hosted the Final Four even and didn't get in, and like Princeton was in it. I mean, so it's kind of hard luck. It's like hard luck again. UH gets into the Final Four, or gets into or is able to host a big tournament, and they're not even able to take advantage of it with their fans in attendance. So it kind of sucks, but hey, at least a national championship, I guess it's good that it's not in Long Beach, because that was, that was something that wasn't pleasant to have to, play Long Beach in their own gym for the national championship. Like, that's something that you're just like, okay, how did this happen? But another weird thing about men's volleyball, when you have so few teams, You're going to have some of the same teams hosting too, hosting championships. And they used to incentivize teams to host championships by giving them better chance of getting into the tournament itself. So, I think that's another reason why a lot of teams have played. A lot of teams have decided to host, but Hawaii hasn't been able to host yet. So I think that should happen soon. The NCAA's at least. So not just me and Jenny will be there, but hopefully a lot of people will probably be there as well, because I think Hawaii would really support a major championship, and Hawaii would have totally supported this Big West Championship had they had that chance to be there. It looks like Ohio State lost in the MIVA tournament, the MIVA tournament. They lost to Ball State, so I'm assuming their season's over. Yeah, their season's over now, so they won't be in it. So Ohio State will be hosting the national championship, but will not be playing in it, which is kind of a good thing, which is actually a really good thing, so we don't have to worry about the team that's hosting it being in the tournament, which I think was a significant advantage for Long Beach State in 2019 in playing UH men's volleyball. If you remember before that game, if you saw Hawaii sports fans, me and Governor Ige and President Lassner took a photo, and Fuchsia and Brian. So the five of us took a selfie, a governor selfie before that game. So you can go back and look at that. That was a fun day, though, being in Long Beach and representing for UH. And I'm sure Jenny has some fun stories from there as well. It was a fun time to be there at a national championship, and I really hope that we have that chance again. And I don't know. So I'm hoping, Jenny. I'm holding out. I'm hoping that I can definitely at least be there as media if I, like I was there at Northridge. But I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance there could be fans. But now that looking at what is, on the docket for UH men, I think that, these games against Irvine, as we know, and playing in the Big West tournament, I think this is one of those few years too where I don't think there's much more that they have to do. I mean, obviously they should. Oh gosh, did my thing just turn off? I don't know why my camera just turned off, but that's okay, because this is also a webcast, or this is also audio, so I don't know why my camera just turned off. But I think men's volleyball will also be able to have a much easier breath of not having to really hold out if they'll get an at-large. Because I think this year, and I'm not saying I really don't see them losing at all, but I think as it gets closer with men's volleyball, we think, oh my gosh, like what was it, 3 years ago when they didn't get the at-large, and I thought they should have got the at-large, and they were a lot closer back then, or they were not, they didn't really separate themselves like they did this year, and I really think the team has separated themselves, and this men's volleyball team is poised to win a national championship. So I encourage, if you haven't seen my video, go and check it out on the website, HI Sports Fans. Let me see if my camera will turn back on. But it was heartbreaking in Long Beach. Oh, there's my camera again. Okay. I have no idea why it turned off, but if it does that again, we'll have to, whatever. Some of you are listening on podcasts at the Hawaii Sports Fans channel on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to the show as well. But 1 year of doing this live streaming, we started the podcast, I think, late last year, as if it was like back in many years ago. Obviously, it was recently, but I think late last year is when we started putting in podcast form, and I'm trying to, change up the format a little bit and be able to add a little bit more content here and there. But it's a work in progress for me as well as we go along. I'm learning along with you folks. And you know, I'm a fan too. At the end of the day, I'm a fan, and I'm just sharing my passion and my love for the things that I do, and with all of you. And that's what this is for. Whether you're watching the live stream, whether you're podcasting with me, you know, I hope you can make it out to a trip. Ultimately, Hawaii Sports Fans is about that experience on the road, and UH versus UCLA is that first football game we're obviously very excited about. There'll be some baseball games there as well, Dodgers and Rockies, and we're planning on sitting in the home run alley. We plan on possibly getting a suite even for the Angels game, and hopefully seeing a preseason NFL game at SoFi as well. So doing a bunch of fun things in LA. But I really, really highly recommend the vaccination. I think that's what's going to get you into any game. You know, whether you go on your own and you take a trip this summer for an MLB trip, or whether you plan to just do some NFL games. It looks like the Buffalo Bills are not going to be the only team that requires this vaccine passport to get in. There's going to be a lot of teams that do it as well, and that's just so they can open up all their seats. Wish me best of luck. I'm just hours away, hoping that I get that ticket into my LAFC account so I can see a game. LAFC, be there again for the home opener, be there for my 4th home opener in a row in 4 years, be there for the 4th season opener in 4 years again. So it's been quite remarkable run there, and now that we are seeing COVID cases decline and we are seeing people be vaccinated, I think the excitement is real. And I think a lot of you as well will be able to be in the stands with me very, very soon. But the first step is to be vaccinated. So make sure you do that. My camera just went off again, so that's a sign, I think. Probably time to just slip away on this Wednesday night. April the 14th, 2021.
What we do here is go back.
What we did here was go back, for sure, to a year in review, a year that showed us just what was possible for someone like myself, or a small company like Hawaii Sports Fans, just trying to navigate its world, especially in the time of COVID. Thank you so much. Mahalo for all your support, and we'll see you next time. Aloha.